also to kind of add to that. So let me start with what is EASM and what problem does it solve? Or rather, let me start with the problem first. So I remember, I mean, if we go back like 2 decades, I had been there in the industry, I mean, since probably a couple of decades. So if I look at the way the hacking landscape has kind of changed over a period of time, so it went through a lot of interesting phases. So there were times when the hacking used to happen more through compromise of the network level vulnerabilities. Then came a phase where application level vulnerabilities took over. And then a little bit later, something very strange happened when the industry went through like 2 decades of vulnerability assessment, penetration testing, and all this super cool stuff. We started seeing some strange stuff happening in last few years. And I'll give you an example. One of the strange stuff is like one of the topmost names in the financial services companies got compromised because they had a open database without any password. And I have very high respect for these guys. They're great folks, and they have got great tools and team. So the question is like, why did that happen? Why did they get compromised? Because they had no password for the database. I mean, that doesn't sound obvious or something which is normal or common, right? So if you look at this as an issue, there's something new which got started in last 4, 5, 6 years or last 3, 4, 5 years. And that new thing that got started is that unlike say 5, 6 years before, when anything that had to go online had to go through the central IT team, anybody and everybody couldn't create things and make it go live online. You had to go through the IT team. It was difficult. But today, fast forward, today marketing team can create things on their own and make it go live. The projects team can create something on their own. Cloud guys, DevOps guys can create things on their own. We're talking about an agile world, decentralized world. So all of a sudden what has happened is the central control of the assets that goes online and the central visibility of your asset inventory all of a sudden went for a toss. And that is the reason why we see a lot of these apparently strange compromises, which looks like this great company got compromised because they had this simple vulnerability. Obviously, those great companies wouldn't kind of miss out something like that. And that happened with this specific FSI organization where this particular database was made online by their marketing team. So this is a new problem which was not there 5, 6 years back, because at that point in time, things were tightly controlled and it was difficult to take things online. So because of this problem, I kind of talk about like there are 2 kinds of compromises which I see. One kind of compromise is because of nails, and the other is because of nuclear weapons. And let me explain that. What do I mean? So I remember during my childhood days, we used to, I read this poem about, for want of a nail, the shoe was lost, and for want of a shoe, the horse was lost, and for want of a horse, the general was lost, and for want of a general, the leader, the battle was lost. So something like that. So it's a small, sorry, I kind of started it wrong. For want of a nail, the shoe was lost. So you start with the nail, and because of a missing nail, the battle is lost. And that kind of compromises are happening. Some small misconfiguration somewhere, which is causing a large organization to get breached. And many of those are like shadow IT, unknown assets, which are not known to the organization. And then there are others which are nuclear weapons kind of stuff, which is zero-day attacks. And those are very rare. Very rarely somebody gets compromised because of a 0-day or a very complex multi-stage attack. So those are more like nuclear weapons. So most of the battles are lost not because of a nuclear bomb being deployed. It is lost because of a nail. And that nail, those small issues which are there in the attack surface, this is kind of proliferating in a very, very big way. So how do we then manage that? So managing our external attack surface, managing those small things out there which can cause a big breach. So this became a problem of today, which was not there 5, 6 years back. And today, because of remote working and because of all these digital transformation, cloud, etc., it's just going to get worse. And that is the reason why EASM came into being. EASM got coined as a word by Gartner. Gartner calls EASM as external attack surface management, so that the idea is about getting a visibility of all the assets that you have, knowing what's your attack surface like, what are the risks associated with that, and doing it at a scale. Earlier, or even now, there are different other analysts who call it attack surface management, but Gartner created this new market called external attack surface management, which only focuses on the external attack surface and not the internal. So that's a kind of brief or long genesis, and the reason behind why EASM